950. Real Texas, Real Talk. KPRC Houston, an iHeart radio station.
You've heard of Chat GPT, right? Artificial intelligence that can write resumes, papers, news stories, I would guess. All kinds of things. It is disconcerting enough for people like Elon Musk that they kind of signed this letter. There's about 1,000 people who signed a letter saying we need to kind of put a hold on this kind of stuff because we're really not ready for it. It is a practical example. Let's say that you're using Chat GPT or your kid's using it to write a term paper or something, and turns in the term paper. There's no real way for that instructor or professor to know whether you wrote it or artificial intelligence wrote it. In fact, the artificial intelligence could probably write it better than you can anyway, and therefore we're all going to be getting better grades, which sounds great if you're a student until you realize I'm not really learning anything because artificial intelligence is doing all this. Anyway, there's a lot of ins and outs of all this, so we thought we'd bring on an expert. Michael Cups joins us here on AM 950 KPRC. Do we need to put a hold on Chat GPT? What do you think?
Well, hello. Thank you. No, I don't think so. I mean, I saw the letter and I read it and I saw the people that signed it. And my feeling is there is a need for understanding the ethics of AI. And there's a whole practice around ethical AI. But putting a hold on it, there doesn't seem to be a reason for that other than other technology companies are falling way behind. And so they're a little worried about that distance that may get pushed in front of them if they can't slow it down legally, right?
Yeah. So we have no way at this point, right? A college professor would have no way of knowing if a term paper was written by one of his students or by artificial intelligence, correct?
There actually is. It's probably more work than the professor would want to do, but you could go and ask ChatGPT the same question, and if it gives you the same results or very similar, you can do that. You can also check while the language is quite good in ChatGPT, it's not necessarily spot on, and what we're seeing is probably about 80% of it is real usable, but it needs to go get cleaned up a little bit.
I got you. So it's a little bit robotic at this point.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It's okay. Better than it ever has been, and it's quite exciting, but it's not quite how we would speak yet.
I can tell you're excited by it. I don't know why I'm not excited by it. I think maybe I'm just a little old-fashioned when it comes to people actually doing the work they're being paid to do. And I feel like if this is kind of the lazy man's way to get around actually having to do work. I'm thinking of all the jobs that basically are going to become push-button jobs with something like Chat GPT because the artificial intelligence will be the one doing the work.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody thought when RPA, which is robotic process automation, was coming out too in the business world. And what we say, we work with customers that have thousands of people in the back office doing various tasks like loan processing or medical claims processing and things like that. So we saw the impact where RPA said they were going to replace everybody, and they didn't. But what they did is augment that work very well. And that's where we see AI playing a big role in this, where you have basically a digital assistant to ask for advice or ask for the next steps, and you get that. So it could reduce training time. It could increase accuracy of certain things as an assistant as opposed to a replacement. So what makes me excited about it is the possibilities it can lead you to if you're not bogged down with doing the mundane things every day, and you can actually start doing more creative work because the mundane things are being handled by your digital assistant. So that's where we see it, and that's where we see it as exciting.
Are jobs going to disappear? Are some jobs just going to be replaced, though, by artificial intelligence? I know that ChatGPT itself said that they think that their application is perfect for customer service representatives, translators, interpreters, technical writers, copywriters, data entry clerks. Are all those jobs in danger, do you think?
I think they're in danger of changing. I don't think they're in danger of going away. There will be some jobs that absolutely that get replaced. I don't think it's at that scale that the survey mentioned. But there will be some jobs that will get replaced, but most of them will just get augmented and changed. So what people need to think about is you can be scared of it, I guess, if that motivates you, but don't be too worried about it. Learn how to work with it, and you'll do that. And real key for companies, they still need those humans to do certain things. And so what they need to do is get better data about what's going on in the workforce, and then they can report on it and figure out where they actually can augment the work as opposed to replacing the work. Everybody, companies would say they want to replace everybody, but it's just not going to happen, and it hasn't happened the previous times they did that. And the last thing I'd say about it is just what if you open up ChatGPT itself, the first thing it says is that it will occasionally generate incorrect information, and it's limited to world knowledge since 2021. So it's just not there yet. So, I think there's a place to coexist if we just understand the data and understand what we expect it to do and what we expect the human to do. It'll be fine.
Okay, here's a bit of a loaded question. Is ChatGPT, is it neutral? Is it or does it have biases based on whoever's programming it?
That's a great question, and what we've seen so far is it doesn't have biases because it can give you the answers in certain directions that don't seem to have a certain slant, if you will. Could it be programmed that way? Yes. Could it learn that way? Yes, but it's not there today, and there's still the question of it doesn't necessarily have a bias meter in it that says they know what's left or right. Well, you know what I mean, not politically meaning, but just morally speaking. And so I think that we're still a long way from it making its own decisions in spite of what the instructor says, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Going forward with artificial intelligence, we're talking about how you program it, but artificial intelligence is capable of learning itself, correct? How does it learn, and will it, do you think, develop its own biases based on what it learns?
Yes, yeah, it will. And how it learns is it gives a response, and that response is conditioned as either a good or a bad response. And so it will take those good responses and then learn from that for the next time that question's asked. But yes, it will learn itself. It will teach itself. Machine learning does that. But usually what it's doing is just increasing the accuracy of what it's trying to do. In our case, we do smart forecasting and planning for how many people do you need to do certain jobs. And the more it does it, the better it gets. And the more data it has, the better it is. So it's really about feeding it information to get better outcomes than it is just kind of taking a mind of its own.
As I'm listening to you, though, I'm reminded of, what was that movie with Robin Williams where he was a robot who ended up becoming a person? Is that even a possibility with artificial intelligence? In other words, if it's capable of learning itself, how far away are we from artificial intelligence not really being artificial anymore?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I don't know, because Open API that came on the market has just blasted things wide open. So I would normally say it's a long ways off, but gosh, at the rate it's evolving now, it could be interesting. I don't really know. I don't think anybody knows. I think there's some people that want that to happen very fast, but in reality, there's a lot that goes into the human mind and the human body that it's just not going to be able to learn. So I think it's further away than people think. I think sci-fi, though, wants it to be very quick and where we're coexisting with our digital robots that's walking around with us, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course. It's amazing how close to sci-fi we're becoming, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I still can't get that vacuum to go where I want it to, that robot vacuum that's supposed to be smart. So.
It makes a great, if you have a cat, though, it makes a great ride for the cat.
It sure does. It sure does.
Hey, good to talk to you, Michael. Thanks for your insight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.